Not sure why I didn't notice this the first time, but this is actually straight. Maybe it has been straightening as I have taken the tension off the neck. So maybe you have to leave the tension off for a bit. Here's my tool, and it sits perfectly flat on the fretboard. It would help if it was, I suppose, a bit thinner, but there's no gap. So, nicely done. And then anytime I wonder if this is straight or not, this piece of wood, it's very thin, but wide. So if when I'm sanding it, even just holding it with two hands at a reasonable distance apart, I can get a nice flat bit of sanding. So we are ready to try sanding this ink. So what you do, let me get this out of the way. So here's my sanding block. Just happened to be nicely rounded. I don't know why I picked it. Just keep it straight and follow the curvature of the fretboard, for better or for worse. And then you can see light spots and dark spots. The light spots are high and the dark spots are low and not getting any attention. So the trick with it, that's a low fret, and of course we knew number 10 is high on the edge only, really high. So anyway, this is the sort of thing that you just wouldn't know if you didn't actually try and do this for yourself. So I'm going to work over the whole neck, and you just keep sanding until all of the dark spots are gone. You're going to get dents at the low end here where you do most of your open string chords, and well, hopefully you haven't had to sand off too much to achieve that, because you sort of have to do the whole neck together. So pick a pattern that works for you, that allows you to make, oops, I'm drifting here, allows you to make nice even patterns and even contact with the whole fretboard. If you wanted to do to sort of lower the upper frets a little more, then one of the tricks I've seen is to put a piece of paper, or two, like a piece of paper here back and another piece of paper from here back, and then when you're sanding on top of the pieces of paper, that very, very slightly angles the sander or file, depending on what kind of tool you're using. So I'll continue with this until the marks are all gone, and then I have to do some crowning. Beautiful. So this fret, number 10, that was the biggest threat, is actually still low in the middle, and has a tremendous flat spot I'm going to have to deal with. So this was totally worth doing. The rest of the fretboard was nice. It pretty much worked out okay everywhere, with one exception, and that is, well, there's a little spot right there, but I'm going to go just a little deeper with the sanding block. And then here, the uppermost low E has a low spot, and that's totally harmless. I really don't play there, so I'm not going to deal with that one. I have to crown all these frets now, but that's fine. So the big guy, the big problem is this one. And I don't know if you're going to see that sort of hazy coloring. That's all nickel dust. So I'm going to probably hit this guy with a vacuum. And those black dots you can see, those dark spots, that's where I was using the marker to mark my where the notches were going to be in my level check. So those don't indicate a dent in the fret. On the camera they probably look like that. So here we go. Couple of more spots to deal with here. Just a few more seconds with the sander. I've been at this for, I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes. Really doesn't take long, and it does not take a lot of pressure. Just light. Basically the weight of my hand on the sanding block is sufficient, and the paper will actually clog up. So this is, you know, that piece of paper is probably good for one fret job and then toss it. So you know what, that's totally acceptable in terms of cost management for the number of fret jobs I see myself doing. So there we go. Quick clean up and then on to crowning. Here's my favorite way of doing the crowning, is taping the neck off. I did order one of those fretboard protectors, but it didn't arrive, and they had to reship another one. So anyway, I'm still waiting and decided to just go ahead because this is less work than waiting. It's just going to do a bit of taping. So sometimes the edge of the tape lines up nicely with a fret. Most of the time it doesn't. So I use an X-Acto knife to cut. There's my knife. Cut the tape off. And when I draw the knife down off the edge, I tend to get this little triangular sliver that I can grab to peel the tape off. And then as I work my way across the cuts that I've done, I can then push the tape down flat. And that just takes a few minutes at the end to get all the tape back off again, but by then, you know, we're done. And then polishing. The one thing I'm doing differently this time than before is instead of using a cream base, I've got one of those wax-based jewelry polishing compounds. So we're going to see how that goes. Well, this is the ultimate result you're going for, is to wear down the flat spots into a very narrow strip. Let's move down till we get to ones I haven't done yet. These are ones that still have big flat spots on them. So I just run over each of these. I've got two files here. They're tiny little things. Triangular one on the left, square on the right. The triangle one's more purpose suited to this kind of work, but it's worn out. Mine is anyway. And I haven't rounded off the sort of shoulders of these, which a lot of guys will do that on a grinder or something. So what results is that the files are pretty hard on the masking tape, and I keep sort of jabbing in and wearing off the edges, as you can see. Anyway, we'll finish this up and then move on to polishing. Once we have all these worked down to the fine pencil line version of the black marker, it's time for the Dremel. A handy dandy little tool. How's that for camera angle? That'll do. There. So I got me mother's mag and aluminum polish for all metals, shines and protects good. So it's a little hard to getting into the container, but I'm sure once I have a nice divot formed in there it'll be easier. So anyway, this does fling off the wheel a tiny bit, but not terribly. Oh yeah. So now we have a glorious shine going on this guy. It's also probably freaking hot. No, it's not too bad. Good stuff. Alright, we'll hit the rest of the fretboard with this and put the 2x4 guitar back together. Wow, man.